Today we're going to take a look at the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. I hope you enjoy it. So here we go again. Obviously we're taking a look at the Paramilitary 2 from Spyderco. This is my knife I just recently picked up, and someone had requested a review of this several months back, but I told them I didn't have the knife yet. I was planning on getting it. And so here you have it. I'm going to go ahead and give you my take and opinion on the knife. Right off the bat, this is honestly a higher class knife. It's a knife that is somewhat expensive, to me at least. And the only other knife I've owned in this price range would be the Benchmade 583-1, the Barrage Worn Collaboration Tonto, but this is a different knife in itself. Now, when I first opened this knife up and pulled it out of the box, I was kind of expecting I guess a bulkier knife, possibly a little bit heavier, which I normally don't want, so I was a little concerned that this one might be that way, but I was pleasantly surprised. It's extremely lightweight. The liners on the inside are milled out really well, and yet it still gives great strength and stability in the knife, so really a good combination if you ask me. Now, one thing I noticed right off the bat is the actual grip of the G10. It's extremely grippy. To me, it feels like you almost have some fine grit sandpaper on there. It just really grabs your fingers, and it just has a great grip in hand. That's one thing I really like about this knife, is it's just such a positive grip. It's got really sharp jimping in the choil right here, also on top, so you can choke up on the knife and get really good grip, or you can grip it down here. But it's just I think an amazing knife. Now, I got mine in the camouflage just because I thought it looked kind of cool, and wanted to try something different. I've never had a knife in this coloration. I think I would probably prefer the black blade after getting this one, but I think I like that black on camo look. But it really doesn't matter, honestly. Whichever one you like, just go for it. I still love this one. It's just a great knife. One thing about this knife is it does have the, I guess they call it compression lock. As you open up the knife, it just locks into place right there. And that little piece locks in real tight. The lockup is good front to back. I don't feel any play. Side to side, it does wobble ever slightly, but nothing that's really that noticeable. Now, one thing about this knife that I noticed is that when you're working with it, after a while the blade starts to stiffen up and it doesn't deploy as quickly. Like right now, deployment's just super fast, super easy. It's silky smooth, actually. Maybe I can demonstrate that like this, but you just, I mean, look at that. I'm not even push the knife at all. If I hold it like this, blade just drops out. It's like just, you know, just wobbling there. It's silky smooth, but it starts to dry up. You need to keep this well oiled because it started to get stiff on me, and I ended up saying, well, maybe I'll adjust the pivot bolt right there, but I think they've Loctited that bolt in place, which is actually probably good, because this one, I think they did a good job with attention to the detail, and it's adjusted pretty well. Although if you want to untweak it, you're probably, I don't know how you would do that, honestly, because usually you have to heat up that bolt to break that Loctite free, but you can't do that with these liners, so, or the scale. I would imagine that would melt. But anyways, all I had to do was just put a drop of oil in there, and now it just, deployment is just so smooth. I mean, it's hard to describe, but I mean, I'll just press the lock in here and you'll see the blade just drop. I mean, just smoothly. I wasn't even holding the blade at all there, or pushing it down. So overall, I really like the knife. I noticed that some people had said that the newer Paramilitary 2s the bolts that hold the knife in place actually weren't flush with the scales. But on this one, you can see they're flush. They're starting to say that I think they were going down further in the scales, but on this one, they're just completely flush. So I think that's a cool design. I like the way they did that. Lanyard hole is really big, so if you want to put some paracord or something, make a lanyard, you can do that. Deployment hole is super grippy, real easy to deploy. You know, you can deploy the knife however you want. Deploy it like that. Just deploys really quickly. Really cool design. One problem I had, and this is S30V blade. I think you can kind of see it in the camera, but you can already see a chip out right about where my thumb is. I don't know if you guys are catching that, but I can see it in the viewfinder, so I think you guys are seeing it too. But I honestly, I haven't. When this happened on the first day I got the knife, and I hadn't cut anything. I checked over the edge when I first opened the package, and I didn't see that. The only thing I did was, as I was playing with the knife, I cut myself right there on my finger as I was closing it, because this one unique feature about this knife is that in order to close it, it's a little bit harder one-handedly. You can do it, but you kind of have to maneuver it a weird way. But anyways, I had a finger in the liner as I was playing with it on my left hand, and as the knife was closing down, it hit me right there. But honestly, that's the only thing I cut, so I'm kind of baffled that that chip has already occurred in the edge. And honestly, I was a little frustrated. I almost wanted to send the knife back, but that can be fixed. It can be taken care of with a good sharpening over time. But again, it's right about there. You can see a little bit of a chip out. Otherwise, the knife was really sharp. It's not a mirror polished edge or anything. It's kind of a rough looking edge, but it was extremely sharp. That was pretty much my only negative for this knife, as far as using it over the past few days. Everything else I really like about the knife. Now let's talk value. This is a really expensive knife, as I was talking about at the beginning of the review, but I usually don't spend more than maybe, $30 to $50 really on a knife. So I was kind of taking sort of a leap of faith, so to speak, when I picked this knife up, because it is a $100 knife. But I had seen all the positive reviews on this knife and how much everyone loved it, so I went ahead and took a chance. And I have to say, just for the fact that you get really grippy liners, they catch your finger so amazingly, and it's just got a real positive grip in hand. It's just a real useful knife. The blade length isn't too long, it's not too short. It's kind of a perfect balance, honestly. For me, coming from a Spyderco Endura, Spyderco Stretch, the Tenacious, this blade's a little bit shorter than the Endura and the Tenacious, but not by much. And it's just, to me, it's almost like the perfect blade. I mean, I could have bought a Sage, but one of the problems that I have with the Sage series, the Tenacious, is just the fact that the width of them like this, the blade comes off of here, and it really just takes up a lot of your pocket. It's not, the width is just, it's more on the Sage. The Sage is a little bit shorter, but just really knife. It's got that really wide knife, really wide blade. The Tenacious is the same way, and I just noticed that it just takes up too much of my pocket. But I think that the Paramilitary 2 is the perfect balance. It doesn't take up too much of your pocket. Ergonomically, it looks so symmetrical and cool. It's just the curves of the knife really say something about it. So, needless to say, I was happy with the purchase. I really liked the knife, even though it was as expensive as it is. I think for what you're getting, the fact that it's made in Golden, Colorado, and that it's a US made knife, and you're getting a S30V blade, which is a really good steel. It's not a amazing steel, but it's really good. And just the quality control looks good on this one. The scale is super grippy. Really nice pocket clip. Everything looks great on this knife. The only complaints I had was a slight chip on the blade, but honestly, it's a great knife. If one of you were hesitant about picking it up, I recommend that you definitely do your research first, but honestly, I have no complaints, no major complaints with mine. So anyways, thanks a lot for watching. Hope the review helped, and I'll see you guys and gals later. Peace.